Well, good evening, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives, and I think that I'm coming to one of those points in my particular walk where I realize that if we don't take some drastic action sooner than later, things are going to get real messy real fast on the economic front. And I've tried to say it sweetly. I've done some of these sweet vids where they're just sort of tutorials. And I've done some harsh vids where I've broken out some language that made the sensitive people of the world cry. And I've done it in between. And the reality is that I'm done screwing around. I don't know what to do. I can sit there and just say, screw it. It's going to happen anyway, because people have a death grip on wrong thinking. Many don't have a lot of interest in reading the stuff. They don't have any real interest in learning. You can tell. All you got to do is scroll on our page and look around, and you'll see link after link talking about private debt is the problem, not public debt. And you'll notice it has one like, maybe one share. You'll see that people aren't really paying attention. And you realize that at the end of the day, when these recessions hit, because we're sidetracked with a million other issues, and we didn't fight, we didn't go to our Congress people and write to them and tell them that they need to spend now, it's going to hit. And so maybe what's got to happen, as terrible as this sounds, maybe what's got to happen is a massive recession hitting and striking and destroying people's lives. Maybe it's got to take some horrible hardships hitting America again, like 2008, 2009. Maybe it'll take that for people to care enough to actually learn the stuff. Our Congress is gearing up right now for all kinds of austerity measures. There are hosts of, I talked about this the other day, and boy, the weeping and gnashing of teeth was just unbelievable. The fact of the matter is, the GOP would like to have a constitutional convention. And they would like to push a balanced budget amendment. And sadly, many in our own communities feel that that's a good thing. Now, I could sit there and soft pedal this, and unfortunately, most people don't really want to listen to the soft pedaling. They want to hear a rant. So I give them what they want, and then you get the people crying, like devastated, like tears of, like they've been mortally wounded because of telling them straight dope about economics. And they don't like being called, economic terrorists or something like that. And, it's just the way it goes. At the end of the day, if we want to fix this thing, we got to do something different. And you can't do the same shit over and over again, expect it to change. And yet, there they are, the same people that say they love Bernie, the same people that say they want single payer, the same people that say that they want all these wonderful things, literally are pushing for economic policies that would completely and utterly undo any chance of progress. And so you're stuck in the situation of, how do I make people realize how dire and desperate this situation is? How do I make people care? How do you take people who genuinely have no interest in economics whatsoever to make them actually pay attention? I give it my best shot. I mean, it'd be super simple just to say, screw it, let the crash hit, let everybody suffer, and go around to those who didn't want to listen and talk to them one-on-one and ask them how it feels to suffer from a massive recession. Put the mic in their face and say, can you please describe to me what it's like to lose your home and your job and not really do well food-wise? Can you please describe to me what it's like? Now, I know I've been through it before. That's what makes me feel so scared and frightened now that I see the writing on the wall that another recession will be right around the corner. I already experienced that pain and hardship. I think most of you have. I think most of you lived through the last recession. But yet it's not enough for you to remember that. You still probably think we need to jack up taxes to pay for things. You're probably still ready to fight that war instead of what I'm trying to help you guys through here, and understanding that as a net importer, we're really screwed here. I mean, it's not a bad thing if our government will spend on us, right? But we're asking our government to cut spending. We're asking our government to cut its policy options down. It's frustrating, folks, when you see it, when you read it. Every news article that comes out, some jackwad saying, hey, you know, our debt is up. It's $20 trillion. And you're like, guys, man, we're the currency issuer. We're the ones that make the money, man. Why are you saying such stupid things? People just love it, man. They live to say things that are not really sharp. I don't know. It's like they want to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory when we have the tools in front of us to actually fix this stuff. I mean, we really do. The worst part about this is it's infinitely preventable. It's all infinitely preventable. And talking to people about it, they're just not interested. They're just not interested. I think the only thing that will make people pay attention, literally, is when their kids don't have enough food on the table. Maybe that will be the thing. I can't think. I mean, it's so easy to latch onto these things that have, you know, this visual representation of the horror. You know, like the Dakota Access Pipeline's easy to understand why, you know, you got to get involved, because you see, you know, a woman's broken arm and stuff like that. But economics is like graphs and ones and zeros, so it's hard to get your emotional tie into that until all of a sudden it really truly wrecks your life. When you have a house that goes under and your mortgage goes under and you can't afford it and they're laying people off again by the thousands, maybe that's what it's going to take for people to actually say, well, I don't feel comfortable reading this stuff, but I'm going to push past my comfort zone and learn it. It's like all my life I watch people dead set determined to read really, really bad Ron Paul blogs. Really bad Ron Paul blogs. These things that talk about how the debt is the crisis of our lives and stuff like that. And they're willing to stay there, stuck, and fighting against themselves. You know, it's like, well, we need single payer, but let's cut the deficit. We need college for all, but we got to cut spending. You know, it defies logic. I don't understand why people want these things but are absolutely committed to not learning the things that would help us get there. I mean, it's like they're committed to not learning. It's like they've signed in blood that they don't want to learn. And that's frustrating to me. So, again, I've tried different styles. I've tried pounding it. I've tried dropping the elbow of truth. And you always get the whiner coming through. You're so mean. You don't need to say names. You don't need to call. And it's like, dude, you know what? When your kid's starving and you got all a case of the feels about delivery because I'm trying something to keep people engaged in the subject, that otherwise is like watching paint dry. If you get caught up in the feels, then you're the problem, dude. You're the problem. And, well, you said it's so harsh. I just tuned out right away. Fine, tune out. Prove me wrong. Do something better. Do something useful with yourself. Figure out what I'm saying. And then go do something. Write to your congressman. Write to your governor. Write to, the president. Write to the people that are in charge of fiscal policy. Write to the people who are actually pushing the bills. Write to the Senate. Run for Congress once you learn and change the way things go. But I'm telling you, folks, if you wait until it hits, it'll be too late. It'll be too late. So, I get these moments where I look and I see that nobody read an article. I literally look at it and I go, they're going to come back and they're going to be crying the blues about the recession and how it destroyed their family, and going to be like waxing poetic about how horrible the world is and woe is me. And it's like, there was opportunities there to stop it. There were real opportunities to learn and to go and activate in a way that wasn't getting arrested. Maybe it involves getting arrested. Maybe we have to go into the Congress and do a sit-in on the Congress floor and make them pay. Make them forgive debt. Private debt is through the roof right now. I mean, through the roof. And people are worried about cutting government spending. It just... You're going to have this perfect storm of private debt going through the roof, a trade deficit, and people ignorantly calling for the federal government to reduce spending. And then the pain and misery that are going to come from that debacle, that ignorance. All I'm going to be able to do is sit on the sidelines and probably suffer through it too. And my family will end up suffering from it, which is shameful because I know the truth and I'm trying to teach the truth, and we still won't be able to do anything to prevent it because the country is going to be determined to cut spending and worry about deficits and debt in a country that creates its own money. Isn't that a shame? Isn't that a shame to see the cliff coming and really, really, really not be able to do much about it because people don't have any interest in learning? And then they'll look for a scapegoat. They'll wonder who to blame. I don't know. We can all sing songs together. We can hold hands and go kumbaya and stroke each other's hair and talk about love and sweetness and kindness. But when that recession hits, that ain't going to feed you much. And, instead of having a federal job guarantee, instead of working towards a basic income guarantee, instead of really, really figuring out how to get an infrastructure bill passed so that we can have tons of blue-collar work for the people that will most likely be most impacted by a horrible recession, we're just going to go ahead and ignore this stuff. Ask yourself, look in the mirror and ask, have you tried to read this stuff? Have you talked to somebody about it? Have you escalated this to other people so that they would understand the urgency? If not, why? Why haven't you? I mean, look what happened to Greece. Greece is a monetarily non-sovereign nation. Let's talk about Greece for a minute. Greece doesn't create its own money. Greece is now a member of the ECB. They have to use the euro. Whereas before they joined the European Union and went ahead and went on to the euro, Greece was on the drachma, a sovereign currency. Greece could have printed their way out of any problem they wanted to, but instead they went along, and because Greece produces absolutely nothing, Greece is a net importer. So Greece is always going to be a debtor nation. And because they're always going to be a debtor nation, they're going to be screwbarred like Puerto Rico or like Detroit. Whereas the United States is nothing like Greece, because the United States still hasn't given up its monetary sovereignty, even though many fools would like us to. So the United States is absolutely nothing like Greece. Now, if you'd have told me Puerto Rico is like Greece or Detroit is like Greece, I would have agreed with you. But since you didn't, we're not going to go there. But the point I'm making is that people are more hell-bent in believing lizard people and talking about the friggin' Rothschilds and stuff like that than actually learning real economics and actually doing something useful. It's almost like the 2 Minutes of Hate from 1984, Rothschilds, Goldstein, they just got a name and it works and it's great and it's fun and it doesn't really solve anything, doesn't really do anything, doesn't really help us in any way, shape, or form. But I guess it's fun to say, maybe it looks good in a meme, I don't know. It's useless, doesn't do anything, doesn't help anybody. In fact, it just pushes people that would otherwise be pushing for the right things right now into believing that suddenly we've got to, end the Fed and all this other stuff, when in reality, the Fed has got interest rates at 0%. They've done all they can do as far as monetary policy. It really comes down to Congress needs to spend on us. I've said it countless times. People still want to cut spending. So I'll sleep better at night knowing that I was right, but I won't sleep better at night when my family's starving or out of work. So, what do we do here, folks? Do I get angry? Do I not lose my sense of outrage as my family's going to suffer because people didn't care enough to learn? Or do I just not care? Do I just throw up my hands and say, screw it, I don't care anymore? I don't know. I mean, at some point in time, even when you have 200 people watching at one time and a video gets shared 30,000 times or something like that, that's still nowhere near the millions and millions and millions of people that need to know this stuff, right? And since people don't really take the time to do it, they don't really take the time to go past the comfort zone. We're going to be stuck. And I'm telling you, I keep coming back to this, but it's like, he hurt my feelings. He said bad things. He said mean things. He didn't make me feel good. So I can't listen anymore. Okay. Say sweetly. Let's see if you listen then. Put it out there. Sweet nothings. We'll put a bunch of hearts in the post. Maybe that'll, say something like namaste or something like that in the post, and maybe somebody will read it then. I don't know. This is going to be cataclysmic, though. I mean, seriously, we're at a point now where global private debt is through the roof. There's going to need to be like a day of jubilee where they basically just purge debt. They're going to have to be, because the entire global banking system is going to collapse unless we decide to spend money into it for our own country. I just don't understand why people are willing to ignore it. So, with that, there's a whole bunch of links in the narrative here. Whole bunch of them. For those who really care and want to try to do something substantive, that want to do something substantive to change the narrative, who want to do sort of activism to change the narrative, the basics are in the links. You can't screw it up too much. The one by Rodger Malcolm Mitchell and Myth Fighter called Monetary Sovereignty. It's the easiest one you'll ever read. The video, can we print our way out of debt, with Bloomberg, which is L. Randall Wray. I don't know if you're hearing me okay or not, but L. Randall Wray. That one right there, perfect one to watch. Take a few minutes, if you've got a few minutes of life to give to fix the economy, to figure it out. Few minutes, right? Don't forward one meme for a minute. Don't watch one Kardashian episode for a second. And just watch L. Randall Wray talk about how we could print our way out of debt with a keystroke. My suggestion is that if you care about this stuff, you're going to do the reading. I can't do it for you. I've already done it. And, you know, if you got a case of the feels, if I say something in a way that makes you, feel weepy inside, man, figure a way to package this stuff up better. Figure a way yourself and share the word. Don't rely on me. If I'm too harsh for you, if I bring out the feels in you, by all means, build a better mousetrap. By all means, build a better mousetrap. Figure it out. Do something different. But for God's sake, stop sitting on the sidelines. Stop sitting on the sidelines. You know, the sidelines are what's killing us. Too many people sitting on the sidelines. If you want to learn, I've given you the links. There's a master's degree worth of data in the narrative of this video. Read it. It will give you more than enough information to answer just about any question out there. Anyway, this is Steve with Real Progressives. I hope you guys take the time to learn. I really, really want to see my nation bounce back from this. I want to see our children do better than we did. I hope you do too. Have a good one. Bye.